All right, all right. Greetings, everyone, and welcome to Unique Perspectives Love Talk Radio. I'm your host, Charles Dixon, and I'm here with my co-host, Mr. Adam Ford. How are you, sir?
What's up, fam? How y'all doing on this Friday evening? Woo-hoo, we made it through another week. Yeah, man, I'm happy about that right there. No
Yeah,
doubt about it. Made it through another week.
always something. Yeah, that's a good
Always
thing.
something. You got something
No, I'm
going
saying
on?
it's always something in life, but this is a good thing, you know?
No doubt, man. No doubt. It's a good week, dude. We made it through. We survived again. Thank God and everything like
I'm
that.
trying to
Even
tell
got some
you.
warmer weather going on for real. Even got some
Yeah,
warmer.
all
It's supposed
around
to
the
be.
country, you're hearing about you. It's like a wave. One minute you hear about how crazy stuff is, and then the next minute it kind of warms or gets a little bit
Mm-hmm.
better everywhere. So
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
that's a
No
good
doubt. No
thing.
doubt.
Good thing. Good thing. All
Yeah,
right.
Joe. Yeah,
What was I
Joe.
gonna say? Oh man, there was something I wanted to bring up. That's kind of like a main event.
Valentine's Day.
It'll come back to me. Oh, I said main events across the world, like news. We know that
Oh, yeah.
this is annual news. Valentine's Day. That's an annual staple. Right, it's annual. Can't no getting around that.
Annual
Um,
news. Annual
what was I
news.
gonna say? So yeah, we'll come back to me. But anyway, so today we want to talk about love standards. We didn't get a chance to we're gonna be quite 100% honest. We wasn't sure we was gonna do the show today. But anyway, so that's why you didn't see me do my normal post. But I was like, we're gonna push it out anyway, Adam. So today's show is called Love Standards. Be happy with it, be heard in it, be seen by it. Now, we're not saying that these are all of the love standards or anything like that, but these are just kind of like high level buckets that we'll dump a lot of the points that we may make today in those and go from there. All right. So, Mr. Ford, just from your
Don't you got to break it down? Don't you got to break it down? Don't you
yeah,
gotta-
man, I finished. Dang. All right. So anyway, okay. All right. So look at it like this. So I'll bring it back to me and Adam. Adam and I met many years ago when we were both working at what is known as an IP law firm. And that stands for intellectual property law, which deals with patents, trademarks, copyrights, all that kind of stuff. So I'm saying that to say, and we would talk. So if we're talking about, I'm just trying to draw a comparison. So if we're talking about standards, so all of the work that Adam and I used to do back in those days were leveraged against a standard. And that standard is they were laws governed by the United States Patent Office, right? The United States Patent Office. So there's a lot of other places. There's NIST, NIST. NIST has their own framework laws, and so everything has an authority attached to it if it's a standard.
Right.
So if we're talking about love, it depends on how you gauge love or how you were reared or raised talking about love from its inception. But for me and perhaps for Mr. Ford, we base love off of the word, right?
Okay.
And
Okay.
so there's a framework in the love in the word. If you get a chance to read it or look at it, but it kind of gives you an idea. It's like it's under 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 10. It gives you a description of kind of where love hinges from. And it's a lot of love chapters in there, but that's a specific one where it kind of gives you the breakdown and description and things like that. So, with all of that said, today what we're basically breaking down when we talk about love standards, they're basically the core standards and expectations of love. Like, we can go through some of them later, but as a quick drop down, it'll be mutual respect, trust and honesty, effective communication, support and affection, equality and compromise, healthy conflict management, shared values, personal autonomy. That means let people move around without being controlled. And lastly, consistency and effort. So those are some of the things. And everybody has their own. Adam, you brought this point up that everybody idea of standards are different.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So everybody's idea of standards are different. And if you and somebody said to break it down. So if we're thinking about, okay, so you help me, Adam. We're talking about the authority on the standard. So basically, the standard we're talking about in this instance is love.
Okay.
So the standard of love hinges from somewhere, right? It didn't just drop out of the sky, and just because we grew up all saying, oh, so and so loved this person and that person, but we got the model of love from somewhere. And so we were Adam just talking about, for us in this instance, we model the idea of love from the Word of God back in those days. All right.
Right.
So all right. So you want to go a little bit, sir, onto this?
Yeah. So even sitting here thinking about it as you're discussing it, so I think we need to understand that that a standard is a measure, right? It's what you're measuring everything else by. And it is really your baseline. It's your baseline in terms of what you're looking for, in terms of the quality or the caliber of a particular thing. Does it meet the necessary requirements in order to pass muster? These are the standards, right? And if we're not clear on this, what I was saying earlier to Charles before the show was the fact that for everybody needs to define what your standard is. What is your particular, unique, idiosyncratic standard? Okay, in terms of how you view love and what does love look like to you? Okay, and so that's the standard that we're talking about. So, for example, your standard of love might be somebody who is who exhibits loyalty to you, and to you, that's something that you look at as a standard.
Yeah.
Okay, somebody else, it might be communication. You view love in terms of, okay, is this person being communicative to me? That's the standard. That's my baseline in order for you to be able to even get in the door.
Yeah, to carry on.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's important because I think sometimes when we go into relationships and we're dealing with people, and we're trying to suss out whether or not this particular person it meets the standard. I think sometimes we kind of like, because we don't have a particular standard, because we haven't established a standard, our standard is not defined.
Yes.
We just take them.
Yeah.
And when they don't meet the standard, then we become disappointed. Well, how are you going to be disappointed with somebody who doesn't meet your standard when you did not define what your standard was from the very beginning? Wow. And so we walk around with a whole lot of disappointment and frustration, not realizing that we did not establish what the standard was.
Wow.
And so now you have to, like I said, I think it's important before you step into a relationship that you adequately define and establish what your standard is.
That's good.
In terms of wanting to have somebody in your life. Because without that standard, you're not going to be happy.
Yeah.
You're not going to be satisfied when somebody comes into your life. So my question is, have you defined that standard in terms of what you deem as quality and acceptable to you?
That's good. And another way to maybe look at this, so let's think of a long-term standard. Nike shoes, right?
Okay.
The standard in Nike shoes is a good way to think about it because they came out with everything, all sorts of types of shoes, boots, whatever the case is. But the one standard that doesn't change is that trademark sign.
The swoosh.
Yeah, the swoosh is on every shoe.
Okay.
It looks the same. So the point is, I'm saying that to say there's like a core brand. Everybody has their core brand, right? Although they may come out with different designs, but the brand of who you are and what you deserve and desire and draw the line in love should be the standard. There should be something with you that you like, yeah, I don't care, what about this, that, or the other, but
Mhm.
this right here must remain my brand standard.
Okay.
Like this is my standard to me. It's this is attached to me, and this is how I need. And so you made a good point when you said sometimes because many people, if you think about it, most people don't get into relationships and lay down what the standard is.
Okay.
They get into the relationship and they just see, does it feel good? Does it seem like the person knows how to treat me or reciprocate? Whatever the case is, and we'll see what's happening. But
Mhm.
when you say it like that, when we acknowledge that we don't lay down our standards, we open up the door for people to give you whatever they want.
Mhm.
Because when you have, like, let's just say our favorite store that we may want to go into, we may like what they sell, but we know if we don't get there by 9, they're closed.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
their standard. Or there are certain things that you have to abide by certain rules or frameworks in order to get in or out of something. And so if you're
Mhm.
gonna stay in some a relationship that you're desiring to move forward and be
Mhm.
positive and flourish, then you have to be conscious to say, am I violating this person's standards or am I within, as we say, compliance of their standards?
Mm.
And I
Okay.
think we need to check. Sometimes we don't think about it, but you need to check and say, you and I have never had this conversation about standards. And I'm only saying this because there are some things that you do that I maybe want to bring out. I mean, they're not terribly offensive,
Mhm.
but
Mhm.
there are things that cause me to feel away.
Okay.
Because I feel like, because maybe one standard, maybe you're saying, I feel like you're overlooking how I feel. Shout
Mm.
out to you, Jason. What's going on, sir? But yeah, I mean, I think you may feel like someone is overlooking the way that you're not being acknowledged or lack thereof. But
Okay.
it's one I've noticed, if the quickest way to get into a real murky spot in your relationship is to start stepping on standards that are there that have
Mhm.
not been acknowledged. And that could happen because maybe the person just have not came forward to, as you always say, Adam, to communicate what that looks like.
Okay.
So basically what's happening is like Army 1 is moving towards Army 2's area, but without thinking about it, we stepping all on the mines all
Mhm.
throughout the relationship. We stepping on the mines, so it's blowing up over here, blowing up over there, blowing up over there. So
Okay.
it's like you got to be able to talk and say, am I walking on good ground with you, or am
Mhm.
I offending you unbeknownst to myself?
Okay.
And offending people is just, hey, the way you treat me, the way you talk to me, the way you don't call me, the way you don't communicate to me, the way you don't hold my door, the way
Mhm.
you don't initiate this, that, or the other is
Mhm.
offensive, because I look at these things as standards.
Right.
These are the way that my mother, grandmama, whoever told me I should uphold myself. Just
Mhm.
as it is with a man, where certain things men, your father or lack thereof, or someone close or a father-like figure will instill things to tell you, you always make a good such and such a man, always make sure this. And
Yeah.
those are the things that you carry with you in your toolbox. You know what I mean?
Yeah. 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 No doubt. No doubt. So I want to go back to the analogy of the shoe, right? And you
Yeah.
use Nike as an example of a standard of a thing. And so if you think about it, when it comes to an actual shoe, um, or the standard of that shoe or the quality of a particular name brand, there are certain things that must be met in order for that shoe to be able to be used by other people, the consumer, right? And so
Oh,
Nike has a standard by which a shoe either is usable and acceptable
yeah.
or it's rejected.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there are a couple of things that go into, manufacturing a shoe. You want to make sure that the materials, okay, the materials that make up that shoe are of such a quality that the integrity of that shoe is sound and
Mm,
that it will not immediately break down.
yeah.
Okay. That shoe has to be able to endure wear and tear so that it lasts a long time, so that the consumer, I guess, appreciates a
Yeah.
quality of a good shoe. You know, when you buy
Yeah.
good shoes and the shoes last for a long time, well, that's because that shoe has met a particular standard.
And that's it. Yeah.
Okay. And because it's met that particular standard, it means it can handle regular wear and tear versus shoes that you would buy at a maybe a low brand place or whatever
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
And these shoes don't last as long. Well, the standard for those shoes is lower.
They're meant to
It's
not
lower.
go. Yeah.
Right. It's
Yeah.
like having a quality good leather shoe,
Yeah.
good quality leather versus a shoe that is like leather.
Yeah. Right.
It's
Leather.
it's
Yeah.
it's pleather, right? It's
Yeah.
not leather, you know what I'm saying? But you don't want to feel like if you're selling the shoe, you don't want the people to feel like they buying something of a lesser
Yeah.
version, even though they actually are. So what
Right.
does that mean in terms of our relationships? My question to us in regards to this conversation is, what are the elements that make up your love, that make your love a good quality love? The type of love that is able to endure, the type of love that is able to last, the type of love that has a nice sheen to it, a nice look to it, and it meets the standard that it actually is evoking, right? And so I'm wondering if we understand that if we don't have good quality elements, oh man, I'm about to go in this direction. If we don't have good quality elements in regards to our character,
Yeah.
and in regards to how we think about things, then are we upholding a good standard of love?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? In terms of what we're presenting. Again, I think it's key that you understand that if your elements, if the things that make you up are not of good quality, then you're not going to be able to meet the standards that some people present to you, or some people are expecting from you.
Wow.
So my thing is this. So if my standard is that you should be somebody who knows how to communicate, and I meet you and you don't communicate well enough for me,
Yeah.
then you're not meeting my standard.
Right. Right. And on that same note, this is another way of looking at it. So say, for instance, you mentioned the whole pleather analogy.
Mm-hmm.
But if you notice in the market today, people are using leather, but they're saying leatherette. That's the new pleather.
Oh,
But
okay.
because it's leatherette, it draws you in to think you're getting close to quality.
Right,
But your
right.
standards are indeed being shifted.
They're
Right? It's not-
substandard.
it's
They're
not- yeah,
substandard.
It's substandard. It's not that's a way of saying, like, whenever I would see something for sale, and as soon as you look, the first eye, you see that leather. And then when it says red, oh, it's not leather. So you have to be that way about your standards.
Right.
Oh, I'm digging you, but I'm gonna see you in 3 weeks up. It's pleather. You know what I mean when I say when you notice the pleatherette, you have to. I mean the leatherette. You have to. You gotta tune in and say, wait a minute. This isn't authentic.
Right.
So your standards should always feel authentically met.
Yeah.
And not maneuvered around.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, again, if we apply the standards to cars, right?
Yeah.
Okay, there are some cars that have higher standards than other cars, and because they have higher standards than other cars, the quality of that car, they have a tendency to last a little bit longer than your car that doesn't have as high a standards. They don't use as good as materials because of the fact that this car is not meeting the standard of a higher end vehicle. You know what I'm saying? Like, for example, again, if we talk about seats in a car, right? You know, I personally, when it comes to cars, if I'm looking at purchasing a vehicle, I want leather interior.
Yeah.
That's just me, and everybody else has their choice or whatever like that. I want leather interior. I like it. Okay, it's cool with me. I don't give me cloth, and I don't want pleather.
Right.
I want leather interior. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? But so when I'm looking at a vehicle, that's one of the things that I'm looking at.
Yeah.
Versus somebody else who may say, "Well, I don't necessarily need leather. Maybe I want a car that can go fast. You know,
Mm.
I want a nice sports car, or that can, that can go fast, or that." So what my point is this: that with your own standard, you're looking for what you're looking for in terms of what your standard is, in terms of what it actually represents to you. So I'm not going to be satisfied with the car with cloth interior.
Mm.
That ain't gonna work for me. I'm not gonna be happy with that. So if you don't have leather interior, Charles, if you don't have leather interior, don't come in this direction.
Don't come around you trying to
Don't
sell
come.
you. Huh?
Don't come. Don't even try. But if you got leather interior, okay, let's have a conversation. Let's have a conversation.
Mm.
And I think that's a fair thing, right? Because
Yeah.
again, a lot of us, if we're not defining what our standards are, if we're not actually saying what they are, then we are opening ourselves up to situationships, relationships that
That's
are
good.
going to potentially disappoint and frustrate us.
Mm. Here's another good point to make on that note. I was just looking at something while you were talking. Is
Mm-hmm.
we often mistake standards with preferences.
Okay. Okay.
And
Okay.
so, just a quick overview: standards are non-negotiable, essential requirements uh, for health and compatibility of the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Respect, integrity, shared values. Preferences are flexible, more wish list related items
Okay.
regarding taste or comfort levels, like
Okay.
their height, job title, hobbies. Confusing the two often leads to overlooking toxic behavior for superficial, non essential traits. Key differences: standards, non negotiable, rooted in character, morality, and
Mm-hmm.
safety. They are
Mm-hmm.
essential for long term relationships, while preferences are negotiable, rooted in personal desires or types. They are ideal but not necessary.
Mm-hmm.
Examples, lastly, for a standard, a potential partner must be honest and respect boundaries. For
Mm.
preference, a potential partner should be tall and have a specific job or enjoy hiking. So
Mm.
it's key to talk about that, because a lot of times people, we may call something that we think is a standard a preference. I mean, we
Right.
think is a standard, but it's really a
And it was
preference.
preference, right?
So we got to make difference when like you said, the standard is what I have to draw the line because it affects something about me
Right.
emotionally or whatever.
Right.
But if I choose someone, but if I'm just stuck on saying, "Oh, I need me a girl from around the way," that's not a standard.
That's a
That's your
preference.
preference.
Right.
You know
Right.
what I'm saying? Because you like a certain way or thing or whatever. So you know what I mean? Yeah.
So the standard, I guess, but basically what we're saying is that the standard has to do with the actual person in terms of their character, in
Yeah.
terms of their emotional availability,
Yeah.
in terms of them being an honest, true person. Though those are standards, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying, and those are the things that we need to have in mind when we're considering a companion in our life.
Mm.
Because again, like I said, if you haven't defined what it is that you're looking for, and again, that was a really good point in terms of understanding the difference between a standard and a preference. Because
Yeah.
like you said, often we get those two confused. We think that the 6 feet, 6 feet, six figures, I was going to
Yeah.
say
I know all that stuff.
we get those confused
Yeah.
with what an actual standard is. And again, because we think we know what the standard is and we've equated the standard with the preference and we get the preference, we become disappointed
Wait.
because it's not actually the standard
Yeah.
that we're actually getting. It's just the preference without the standard. And how many of us have been in relationships where we got the preference, we got what we wanted, but it actually wasn't what the actual standard should have been
Yeah.
in terms of a person being having a person with integrity and character. in a
Yeah.
relationship, you know?
Yeah, I mean, think about it like this. Also, how if people are still kind of wrestling with the whole standard preference thing, when standards are enforced in a healthy way in a
Mhm.
relationship,
Mhm.
your mental feels very healthy.
Okay.
Think about think when I say your mental, because when you're going through a lot of chaos and craziness, you feel off base because somewhere along the line, my standards are being challenged. I'm not feeling respected.
Mm.
I don't
Okay.
think certain things are honest, so I'm bothered. So I'm rattled.
Okay.
So now when you stay in that space too long, you begin to creep upstairs to the brain. Now you messing with the mental, right?
Mhm.
But when things are if it's something about a preference, you quick to either accept or reject it. So if
Mm.
somebody tell you, "Hey, Adam, I wanted to introduce you to Loliana," whatever, just making up a name, and you might be like, "Oh, wait a minute, you said, wait a minute, she's 5 foot. I'm sorry, I don't date that. Has nothing to do with your standards. It's just
Right.
you're saying preferentially, I don't date a short woman. You know what I mean?
Right,
So
right, right,
it's a
right, right.
difference. So you got to know when your standards are being tested, you begin to feel bothered internally. And so if you don't check it, it'll really, unchecked standards is a bad thing. The relationship is going in a bad direction. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? But it's
Yeah.
up to but it's key to say this. We can't hold the other person responsible if you have not put them on the table.
Right.
People are
If you
going to
haven't said what they
navigate.
are. Yeah.
Think about it. It's like a highway with no lane lines. If
Wow.
the state
Wow.
highways have lane lines, some of them have tolls, they have the highway built for certain enforcements. So if
Mhm.
your life is not built for enforcements, people are going to sway to blur the lines, drift over, hit the guardrail, pull over and try to work on the car in the middle of the highway, do anything, right? Unless you say, wait, before you enter this highway called me, here are all of the instructions and enforcements,
Hmm.
right? Or
Okay.
look, you go through some states. I know in Dallas, you ride down some highways thinking you riding, and if you don't got your toll tag, you getting into the mail. Here come the toll thing in the mail. So
Right,
the
right,
point I'm
right.
saying is it's in Chicago too, right? So
Yeah.
the same thing as you get on certain highways, you think you free balling, but it's not. It's like this is an enforced toll road. So but think about it. The state benefits when tolls are successfully enforced. So I'm
Right.
saying that to say
Yeah.
you benefit
Hmm.
when your standard tolls are
Yeah.
are enforced.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we have
Yeah.
to continue to make sure that we're always doing that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I think it's again, once you do know what your standard is in terms of having a person that is um, committed, they are loyal, they are respectful.
Yeah.
Um, your standard is that you share the same faith. You
Yeah.
know, you're walking in the same direction. When you have that, then you can move forward. But before that happens,
Yeah.
you're not going to make any progress. And here's the other thing too. And I think this is something again that we need to kind of like put out there on the table so that people understand what this is. Uh, I can have my standards established, right? I can have them well defined. But again, Charles, if I don't communicate that to you, what
Mm,
my standard is, if I don't explicitly, specifically say, I am looking for somebody who is committed.
mm,
I am looking for somebody who is faithful. I am looking for somebody who is communicative. If I don't say these things, then how do you know these things?
yeah.
Well, the reality is you don't know these things
Yeah.
other than you are some type of mind reader and you can read people's minds and know what they will know what it is.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're not going to know unless I say something. So it's
Wow.
important that at the very outset of that relationship, of that companionship, that we're talking very plainly to one another. That now
Mm,
we're not being cryptic and we're not giving each other's riddles in terms of what our standards are, but
yeah.
we're actually saying, this is what I want. This is what I need out of this relationship. Now, either you can or you can't. Let me know from the get-go so we know how we're moving. Otherwise, what's the point? You know what I'm
Now,
saying?
here's another thing. We always have to say, I meant to read the thing, Bruce. I'm sorry, I didn't get a chance to standard that emanates from my personality. Okay. So the point I'm making, so we have to ask, okay, so like what Bruce said is fair.
Okay.
It's just as how I would say respect. He said honor, right? So some things are fair, and then there are some things that we call standards have not been vetted as a true standard. Some of them just are quirks that we are forcing in as a standard. We don't like it. I need you to abide or do this, and some of that's like, is that considered a standard? You know, is that really a standard? Because some of the things that we come up with come under the whole thing of what we call unrealistic expectations.
Right.
And we have to learn to know the difference between what's realistic and fair and what's unrealistic.
Yeah.
And be healthy about it. Because sometimes some of us have come through some very unhealthy relationships where our unhealthy expectations were acceptable. But when you meet up against a healthy-minded person, they'll get confronted quick, and now you got a problem, right? Because you feel like the person we're not vibing. No, we just haven't properly assessed both sides of our expectations. You know, what I mean?
Right. Or having those expectations, like you said, be realistic in terms of, you know, and that, so you have to weigh that against your standard, right?
Yeah.
You know, your expectation should be. Here's the thing. I'll put it like this. I want a person who has the standard of having an expectation that is realistic.
Got it.
You know what I'm saying? Why am I going to be with somebody who, like I said earlier, expects to go to a 5-star Michelin restaurant every single night?
Right.
That's not reasonable, guys.
Right.
That's not reasonable.
It is. If you're not a brokey, it is.
Wow. If you're not, wow.
No, wow, that's what they'll say today.
That's what they say. That's what they say. And the reality is, if I'm being honest, and see, here's the thing. Here's where we get caught. Charles. For some of us, when that unexpected or unreasonable expectation is brought to the forefront and expressed to us, some of us take it on as a challenge, and we're like, okay, I'm going to do it, because I want what I see. I want what I see, and because I want what I see, not that I need it, but because I want it, I'm going to do it. So every night, we're going to go out to a 5-star restaurant.
Wow.
Inevitably, Charles, you will break under the pressure of trying to meet that unrealistic expectation. I guarantee you. You might start out good. You might start out well. It might be a thing where you're okay. But I guarantee you, oh man,
one of those times the way they're going to say, "I'm sorry, sir, you have another card." No, but I'm just saying. But
your card has been declined.
Sorry, but no. Hey, I want to make a quick point before we go far. Bruce said something that I wanted to tap in on.
Okay,
he says, "How soon do we tell the person our standards?" He says, "I like to watch and see how people love." This is a good point, because think about this. Let's take it to work.
Okay.
When you get hired on to enter into their environment of standards, the first thing they give you is the manual. That is the standard. And so what they do is they give you the standard up front, and they see how you adhere to it. So what I'm saying to Bruce is, I don't know if he ever considered it this way, because I can kind of feel what he's saying. You want to see how you're loved on their own.
Right.
It may be equally as powerful, Adam, to say this. Here are my standards.
Okay.
This is what motivates, moves me, encourages me, causes me to flourish.
Okay.
When you share these things with the person,
Yeah.
now see what they do. Because now it becomes a matter of, are you a person are you respectful of my standards? I did share them with you, because if you sit back and let them show you how they love you, they can always say, well, you didn't tell me
You didn't tell me. Right. That's
and
true.
That's
true.
fair. I
Yeah.
mean, you may see them loving you, but they may love you the way Tyrone let them love him. So Tyrone didn't. Tyrone is not Bruce. So Tyrone doesn't have the honor requirement, right? Or whatever that looks like. So he's comfortable. She's comfortable nowadays they say in work, do you have transferable skills when you're trying to move into another era of a genre outside of what you do normally? They'll say, well, Adam, I see you have a lot of transferable skills. So in the love realm, people are coming over and meet from one person to the next, and you're trying to see, well, I think my skills can go over there. Because some people, let's just be honest, some people feel what they can transfer over is, sex, some food, cook, and regular. But it's
got
more
money.
to
They
it
got
than
money.
Because those things are standard.
Okay.
Period. Most people, unless they're not engaging in those things, they do them. The core principles are those things are behavioral based things. How you talk to the person, how you treat them, how you do, respect them, how you honor them, whatever, man or woman. So those are the things that people are looking at to say whether, I want to see how this person will do in my world. So I think if we kind of discuss those things from the onset, that is, Bruce, if you were somebody saying, if you're at the beginning of something and you are establishing saying that we going to be exclusive, that's when you say, so since we're going to be exclusive, now our standards really matter. So let's lay them out there so that we can make sure that we off to a good start. Because if you don't, and if you just kind of let the chips fall where they may, people are going to do what they do. It's just like a world with, if you don't have no walls up, you can't complain on how far wide and left people go unless you put the walls up. You know what I mean?
Right. And just to kind of like tag on to that, and I guess from a personal level, from a personal place, Charles and Bruce.
That's a good one. That's good. Okay.
We are not brokers. We will comply. No, that's true. So here's my thing, right? So if I'm not telling you that, and I am moving into this relationship expecting you to meet my standards, it's almost like a setup, right? Because you haven't communicated to me what your standards are.
Yeah.
And now you're watching me to see if I meet your standards. That feels like a test. and to kind of like put it like this, it almost feels like you playing games now, because you haven't said to me what your standards are. Yet there is a assumed that you're an implied that I'm going to meet the standard.
Yeah.
But you haven't said what the standard is.
Yeah.
So how can I meet something that I don't know about? But you're watching me to expect me to do it. And again, here's the thing. I'd rather be upfront, like you already said. I'd rather have full disclosure.
Yeah.
Full disclosure. This is where I am. This is what I need. This is what I would like to have. This is what I'm communicating to you. You know what I'm saying? Instead of it being a wait and see type of situation. I don't think the wait and see works.
Now, this is where you and him both fall in the middle. This is a good point, because up until he said what he said a second ago, now I'm looking at it kind of 50-50. Okay.
All right. Okay.
So what you said is the flat standard. Like we should say it up the front, right?
Yeah.
But what Bruce, the point he made, even though he was joking about the brokey part, the point he made was saying, if I lay out everything up front, now it becomes you emulating what I told you. It's not, you're not naturally showing me how you will honor, respect, be around me, love on me, whatever. You're just doing these things because you like, Bruce got that bag. I don't care what he said, what his house look like. I'm gonna hang around him anyway. I'm just making a point. Some people will conform to get to what they need. And that's not who they are really. They're just that's just the actor doing what they have to do to get what they want from you. So what Bruce is probably implying was, if I don't say nothing initially, I'm gonna let you graze out in the pasture, and I'm just gonna observe and see your day-to-day behavior. That helps me make my assessment before I pull you in close. That's pretty much what I got from that. Yeah.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair, because and I guess I'm gonna come down on the other side of that, and I guess my point is going to be, to some point, I am going to adjust how I deal with you based on what you say to me. There's going to be some adjustment. As a matter of fact, there should be some adjustment. Okay? Because like you said, I'm not Tyrone. So you shouldn't treat me like Tyrone, because I'm not Tyrone. I'm Adam. Okay? Just like you not Shelly.
Yeah.
You're not Shelly. You're Marianne. So I shouldn't treat you like Shelly. Why? Because you're not Shelly. You're Marianne. Okay? Now, having said that, there should be a period of time, and I've said this before. The first date should not be an absolute just vomiting of everything on that person. You shouldn't completely just verbally vomit all over them, emotionally vomit all over them. Oh, no. There should be a period of time wherein we are slowly but surely, gradually divulging and disclosing the things that are on our heart and the expectations that we have, the standards that we have. That should be rolling out slowly and gradually, because we're taking this one day at a time. Ain't nobody running to the finish line. We taking this one day at a time until we build this thing right.
Yeah.
Again, I gotta say, if I'm not being communicative, if you're not being communicative, if you're not saying to me, these are what these things are, and you're continuing to hold on to them, let me put it to you like this. let me see if I can do it like this. So I do something that disappoints you.
Okay.
But I don't know it disappoints you, because you haven't said that it disappoints you. You just hold it in because you're waiting to see. And so when it happens again and you bring it up, well, I'm like, well, you didn't say, because the last time I did it, you were good.
Yeah.
But now, all of a sudden, now you're not good no more. So, again, my point is, you have to communicate what this thing is. Otherwise, I'm not going to know. My full-fledged disclosure to my wife when we first started dating was, again, sitting at Panera, I said, I do not read minds. So if you want me to know something, if you're disappointed with something, if you're happy with something, if you're frustrated with something that I have done or said, then you need to open up your mouth and say what it is, instead of expecting me to know. How do you expect me to know when you didn't say what it was? That's not fair. That's not cool.
Well, some people look at that very instance as what you said. And we've all heard this once before, whether it's a man telling a woman or vice versa. Well, if you was any kind of real man, you would have already known this. Or the man might be like, well, haven't you been married before? It should be natural.
Come on.
That's kind of how
I got you.
People, they're going to say, yeah, I didn't tell you. But if you were in tune with me, you should have known. I'm just telling you, yeah.
No. I got what you're saying. And there is a place and a space for paying attention to your companion. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I believe in being a student of the one that I'm with.
Yeah.
I go to school every day learning something new about the person that I'm with, understanding them. Okay? Because they are continually, constantly growing and developing. Which means the person that I might have dealt with 10 months ago might not necessarily be the person that I dealt with today. But if I don't stay apprised and updated as to who they are, then I'm going to be left behind. Okay. But again, at the same time, with that, in terms of my own individual studying of the person, there also comes a responsibility of that person to say to the other person, this is what's happening with me. And these are my standards. And this is my expectation.
Yeah.
You can't expect me to know everything about you, and you don't want to open up and say what it is. That's how come a lot of relationships don't work, because one person is open, the other person is closed, and nobody's talking to each other.
Wow.
But yet we are assuming and expecting the other person to know everything about us. Oh, yeah. I am a man. And there are some things that I know in a very general sense.
Yeah.
But as far as you are concerned specifically, how about you say what it is that you want? Okay, you don't like Chunky Monkey Ben and Jerry's ice cream. How is a brother supposed to know you don't like it unless you say it? Because every time, watch this, every time I bring it to the house, you eat it.
Wow. You didn't watch me enough, Adam. You didn't watch me enough.
Oh, I ain't watch you enough.
Yeah,
I got your watch right here. I got your watch right here. Keep playing with me.
That's what they say. Yeah.
But the reality is that we're putting the onus on the other person to know something they couldn't possibly know without us actually saying, this is it.
Yeah.
And this is the reason why a lot of people are frustrated in their relationships, because the other person is expecting them to already know when they haven't said it. Yeah. How does that work? How does that work? I don't understand that. That doesn't in relationships, that don't jive right, man. Yeah. Every relationship that you are in is not going to work because you're not willing to talk about what you need to talk about. You hold it in, you know what I'm saying, expecting them to know it. But how they gonna know it unless you actually say something? Yeah. And I'm talking real high right now.
I see.
So you know it's
silly thing. Okay.
Just saying, man.
Yeah.
Come on.
Man, that's good.
Come on.
I think you, like you said, I think it's going to be up to the person. Like the minute you discover that first conversation where it seems like someone is expecting something that has not been discussed, you got to unpack it. Because I know what it happens a lot. Like men, I always go back to that stand-up years ago with Eddie Murphy, where he talks about how when the lady starts to raise her voice and get mad about something he didn't do, he just always say, okay. And that was just his way to
that's all you can say.
To move it on. But when these instances come up and when we discover, wait, this is a part where we didn't discuss this, or this needs to be kind of tapped into, tackle it right there. Like if the woman is expecting something that she's thinking you should have known about, but you never ever discussed it, talk about it.
Right.
I know most of the time. Now, I'm not going to say all the time. More times than not, sometimes women will tell us.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, we don't always listen.
True.
A lot of times women will say it in their own way. Now, to our defense, women say it in all. Sometimes they're direct. Sometimes they're roundabout. Sometimes they throw in hints. And sometimes they just want to know you observed me enough to figure it out.
Right. That's fair.
Okay. But a lot of times with men, our first thing is, okay, I heard you. All right. And then that turns into us never addressing it.
Again.
So it's always a problem. So that's why I said if we notice it, it's just, let's just hit it on the head right there and just say, sometimes you don't like to hear it. Sometimes when you have those conversations, they're just not the best. And sometimes you don't want to hear that whole, but you know what I mean? But it's necessary. You know what I mean?
But and that's the thing though, right? And so, and I think, and I really I want to help us understand as we are adults. Yeah. And we've said this before, and we'll continue to say it over and over again, that there are going to be conversations that are not going to be as easy or as enjoyable as other conversations.
Yeah.
That's just what it means to be a grown man and a grown woman. That every conversation that I have with my companion isn't always going to be about rainbows and unicorns. Okay? Real talk. Sometimes the conversation is going to be, the other thing that happened the other night, well, I was mad about that. I was frustrated about that. And I think that it's necessary to have those conversations. Otherwise, the relationship does not grow. The relationship dies. because we're not really talking about what's really in our heart and in our mind. We're not really talking about where we are emotionally. We're not really disclosing what's happening in our mind in regards to our relationships. And because we're not having these conversations, again, the relationship can't go forward. It can't grow. And so it takes a little bit of, how about we do this, Charles? It takes a little bit of courage to have a difficult conversation. And in the beginning, it might be painful, but I promise you, if you have it now, it'll help you out in the end. I guarantee you it will. It absolutely will, because you'll be able to grow from that point. You'll be able to mature from that point. You got to stop running away from the hard thing. You got to stop running away from the hard conversation. No, we don't want to hear it. God knows I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it, but I need to hear it. And again, to put it in that whole conversation of needs and wants, I don't want to, but I absolutely need to. Absolutely. Otherwise, how does the relationship mature? How does the relationship grow? It doesn't, because we're not willing to have that hard conversation. You know what I'm saying? And especially when we're talking about first starting out, establishing and defining what a standard is in terms of the person that I want to be with. Absolutely got to have that conversation. You absolutely must define what that standard is, and absolutely must establish a reasonable expectation.
Look, along the line, and I kind of mentioned this to you earlier, but this, as we're getting more into it, I'm seeing how this issue ties in. So I had told you a couple of days ago, I stumbled across this page on TikTok. And it was like my first time seeing like I guess it was, we call like a chat room, but they call it a debate room. And the subject was talking about should broke men be allowed to date in 2026? No, it was so interesting to me because there were so many opinions. It was women that got on there and, of course, said the standard. They were like, no, he should focus on himself and get himself together and this first before trying to date. And, of course, there were the women who drew the gray line. Yes, they should be this. They should be able to do it because when he's with me, he's not going to stay down.
Unemployed.
I'm going to bring him up, and it was just then the thing that was really mind blowing. It was men who argued about why shouldn't they date being in a less than optimal position. You know, I'm like, why are we arguing about not being on our A game? Like they were defending.
So they're trying to justify why they're not on their A game.
They were defending why they should be able to date where they were. And so that got my wheels to thinking. I was really tempted to say something, but I just was being quiet. I was observing. But the point I saw out of it, it made me look at men in a different way as I come up from my past and coming up in life. And I said, when I saw them push, of course, you did have the men on there that were arguing, saying, look, don't be on here defending being maneuvering through life broke, because we got young kids coming up. And if they're listening, you don't want to set the wrong tone. But what that showed me when I saw how many, I mean, they were coming up, guys were saying, oh, one guy said he got his papers from over in Jamaica. He came here with this rich woman. And he's like, I don't work. And he was just basically talking about how good he lives and he doesn't work. And this woman basically had to have him, right? And all this kind of stuff. And so what I said to myself, it's one thing, Adam, to just say, let's just take you after your career as what it is. And you fell on hard times. Okay. The company went out of business. You got laid off. And your woman was like, baby, we're going to get through this. And she's there for you. It's another story to approach a woman in the beginning and say, and she's like, hey, what do you do? Well, right now, you know, I'm working this out. And what does that mean? Well, you know, I mean, I do some off and on stuff on Saturday and Sunday, and I get a little bit of this, that, and the other. But, you know, I want to take you out. So the question, that scenario kept coming up. And some women were like, well, I don't see anything is wrong with a little date. But my thing is, when you say yes to that, you're saying your standards can go on the back burner for a second, right? Maybe I'm attracted to this guy or whatever. But the point is, the thing that we as men have to understand about, it's not about how much money you make or what kind of job you have.
Right.
Being employed or having some means, it helps a man's mental.
Yeah.
It helps him to feel a way about himself. I don't care if he's making whatever he's making a year, an hour, it is something to contribute, right? The problem is when you try to do more than you can before time,
right?
Now you are with a woman, you're feeling away, you're competitive, resentful because she make more than you mad, you're not feeling like a man, all of these things. But what it showed me was this is where we get the manipulation and maneuvering from. When men are broke and women allow them to listen to what the guy's saying, because a lot of times when a man is broke, the only thing he has to offer is his acting skills and physical skills at the moment, right? So when he's broke, it's always, you look good. I mean, come on, you let me take you, so we're learning how to maneuver and manipulate to get what we want because we don't have the essentials to not have to play the tricks. Right? We play the tricks because we don't have the essentials. When you have the essentials, you don't have to play the tricks. It's just straightforward or not. You gonna go out or not, or are you attracted? Do you like this or not? But when you don't have the essentials, now you are a constant challenger of standards. Because it's not that it's about a woman trying to say I need to be your money and be a gold digger. It's almost like in track and field. You at least need to be able to come to the line to be ready to move forward.
Wow.
If you're unemployed or if you're struggling yourself, even if you got a job, but you're struggling so bad you can barely make ends meet. You can't. It's kind of unrealistic to expect a woman to just say, "It's all right. You can come stay with me." And you don't really know them, right? Or whatever the case is. So to me, a light should go off to say, what do I need to do to become content with myself so that I don't have to operate in a tricky space? And I think too many of us over the years have learned to maneuver how to get close to a woman, because the truth of the matter is, the thing about trying to approach someone broke and challenging their standards, it's really a safe approach from the man's perspective, because he's not investing. He's just there. And whatever you're going to give me and allow me to trick you out of, I win. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I'm here and I don't have this, that, or the other together, but the more you listen to me and let me woo you because you're lonely or want a dude in your life, I win. And so now the guy who doesn't have himself together, he doesn't really see the value of having himself together because he's enjoying the fruits of what a guy who does is getting to. So what difference does it make? So what that guy work on the 12th floor of the Cunningham building, I'm with you now. That's your ex. Okay, cool. He ain't me.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Wow.
This is why standards are so important. If you don't enforce them, think about it. If the levee breaks in your town, the town is going to be flooded, right?
Oh, yeah.
So if your standard levee breaks, all heck break looses and come into your life, right? So you got to be able to support that wall standard in your life, because people out here do not care, and they will show up to your door, come tricks and all, let me not trick or treat, let me in into your life. You know what I mean? And so
oh God. Okay, so check this out real quick. Because I had a couple of thoughts that flew into my mind while you were talking. And you talked about the whole the conversation that they're having on TikTok about whether a broke man should be able to date or whatever like that.
Yeah, man.
Okay, so let's talk about this for real. Let's talk about this for real.
All right,
Let's talk about this for real. And I'm gonna introduce this thought, and then we're gonna go further from here.
Wow.
So the thought is this, and I'm gonna do a little Sunday school Bible study for y'all real quick. Help y'all out with this understanding, because even the Bible talks about this, right? You'll be surprised.
Okay.
And so with 2 Thessalonians chapter number 3, verse number 10 says this. This is Paul writing to the church in Thessalonica. He says, "For even when we were with you, we gave you this rule. The one who was unwilling to work shall not eat."
Wow.
The one who is unwilling to work, Bruce, unwilling to work,
wow,
shall not eat. I can drop the mic. I'm done. I'm good. So the reality is, if as a man, you are not willing to work for a living,
wow,
you don't eat, you don't date, you don't buy, you don't do anything, because you have no means, you have no resource. Okay? If you're not willing to work, then you should not be dating anybody. Here's the thing, Charles, because your unwillingness to work means that you are not self-sufficient, which means you cannot take care of yourself. You can't take care of yourself because you don't have the means to do so. You don't have the money to do so. You can't take care of yourself. So what are we talking about here? Should a broke man be able to date? No, he shouldn't be able to date. He shouldn't be able to date. He should not be able to do anything because he can't take care of himself. Y'all don't get. Here we go. I'm gonna tie it into the subject. The reality is that as a standard, if I'm dating somebody, as a woman, that standard should be he should be self-sufficient.
Wow.
He should have a job. He should be able to support himself, because if he can't support himself, Charles, if he can't take care of himself, he sure can't take care of me.
Yeah.
And I'm just speaking facts, real talk. He can't even go on a date because he ain't got no money to go on a date. Tommy, you ain't got no job. You ain't got no job. So here's the thing. If you're not self-sufficient, if you don't have a job and you are unwilling to work, you should not be dating. Get a job. Get gainfully employed. Get a job first, and then we can talk about dating later on. But if you ain't got no job, you shouldn't be dating anybody.
So what about the guy who may have the job? This is wrong. This is probably a realistic situation for a lot of people. Okay. He has a job.
Yeah.
He's not making a lot, and he's kind of struggling.
Okay.
But he desires somebody, but his money is less than optimal.
But see, that at least with him having a job that may not necessarily have all the financial bells and whistles that go along with that, at least he's making the effort. And I think, honestly, here's the thing, and I don't want to go into a whole Bible study with this particular verse, but I believe that Paul is actually saying you have to at least make an effort.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you're not willing to make an effort, if we can't see that you're willing to put your nose to the grindstone in order to be able to provide for yourself, then that ultimately means you're not willing to do it for anybody else.
Wow.
You're not doing it for you. So that means you're definitely not going to be doing it for anybody else.
Yeah.
Here's the other point that I want to get to in regards to this conversation, in regards to standards, right? So if I am willing to entertain and tolerate a person who doesn't have a job, as a woman, and doesn't have a job, can't support themselves, what does that say about my standard? What does it say about my standard? It says this. It says that your standard isn't high enough, that you are literally operating on substandard precepts. You're literally saying, I'm willing to take him even though he can't support himself. I can support him. That's a substandard. Why would you lower your standards that far?
Well, let me play a little bit of advocate.
Okay, let's go. Let's go.
On the female side, what about they can say, if the women were really trying to dig at us, right, Adam, they can
Mhm,
say,
mhm.
well, where are the viable options? This is why the
Mm,
standard
mm.
bar shifts.
Okay.
Man, if you had
Okay.
a world full of, if
Okay.
you had a world full of just, all of, I'm not saying everybody got to be high value, but working men that can make an impact in my life, right?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah. Yeah.
together,
Yeah.
then we
Yeah.
wouldn't be having this conversation. But
Okay.
it's not like that. We have a wide range, and of course, everybody's not a boss, and everybody's not necessarily a bum. But there
Mhm.
are some men that will come into the lady's life and not make as much as her, not have a
Yeah.
house like she does, not
Okay.
have her own place like she does. But maybe
Okay.
they're working and they're like, but I really want to go out with you and get to know you. You know how the whole thing goes.
I
And
get
so the
that.
struggle becomes, do I do what Adam said and keep this bar right here because this is my brand? Or do I say, I don't want to spend Christmas alone? I bring it right there. And
Okay.
this, hey, you know what I'm saying? So that's the
I get what you're
conversation
saying.
in a lot of women's head. Yeah.
All right. So here, and again, I'm going to make this very plain and
Okay.
basic.
Okay.
I'm not going to split hairs on the amount of money he earns. I'm not going to split hairs on his salary. I'm not going to split hairs on that. That is a decision that is left up to the individual. Okay. That's that. If he has a job, again, I'm reiterating, he's making an effort. He's doing something. Now, whether or not his salary is where you want it to be in terms of how much he's earning and bringing home, that's a conversation between the both of y'all.
Okay.
You're adults. You can figure it out.
Okay.
But if you come to the table, Charles, with your hand out and you don't have a bag, you ain't bring a bag to the table, you came with your hand out, that's a problem.
Wow.
Because you're not, again, the standard obviously is you're not making enough of an effort to show that you can actually support yourself. I ain't talking about nobody else.
Yeah.
I'm talking about just you as an individual, that you are not doing enough to be self-sufficient. As a father, I raised all three of my kids with the idea that when you leave this home, you need to be able to stand on both your feet on your own without any help from mom or dad.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay? Yeah. And so I think that is the standard, right?
Yeah.
That when I meet somebody, I'm meeting them in the hope that they can support themselves. I'm hoping because okay, so what were you doing before I met you? Oh, you weren't doing anything. Oh, next. Because you're not in the standard, right?
Yeah.
The base requirement, y'all, the base requirement is literally saying this person needs to be able to support themselves. And let's do this. Like, oh man, too many thoughts running in my head right now. You need to be able to support yourself to be able to even think about dating somebody else. Because one of their questions is going to be, okay, so who's paying for the date? You ain't got no funds, so obviously you're expecting me to pay for it.
Yeah.
You can't walk into that situation like that. Again, the woman wouldn't be faulted for walking away from this particular person because he's not able to support himself. And he's expecting her to pay. Now, I know it's 2026, and I know I might sound like an old fogey, but the reality is at least present the option that you're gonna pay. That's all I'm saying.
But
that's
you know what? The embarrassing reality on that room I was in, that chat room, I was listening, is the embarrassing argument, Adam, was the reason those men were pushing back hard about being broke and dating because they were all presenting receipts that they are all these women who are dealing with them broke. You see, I'm just saying.
I know what you're saying. I got what you're saying.
They kept saying, well, you know what? The ladies were the older women were like, oh, you shouldn't be doing. And they were like, yeah, but I'm doing it. This person picked me up. This person took me to this, that, and the other. So I was like, wow. So, it happens. Like I said, I think people are in this day and time. Let's just be honest. Are there men working and holding their own? Yes. But
Mhm.
but there's a whole lot of women on their own doing their own thing. So
Right.
when you're in that position that you kind of have to unfortunately think like a man, you sometimes make decisions like one and look at the man, look at the other man as you're the woman, as the woman, because he's not
Right.
standing up like the man. So you make the exchange, you make amends for the exchange that decisions that you make. But I
Yeah.
think when I was listening to them, I was like, that's nothing to brag about. But
It's
they were
not. It's
bragging on the
not.
fact that they were able to maneuver anyway, irregardless of being broke.
And
So
how is that something that's accept again, I'm not trying to
yeah,
come off chauvinistic. I'm not trying to come off
yeah,
as I'm not. But as a man, that's got to do something to your mind, man. That you're
yeah,
not able to get up and support yourself, that you're willing to depend on and you're not, and again, I'm not talking about men who have jobs, who contribute to their households.
yeah,
I'm talking about a man who doesn't have a job,
yeah.
spends all day at home doing absolutely nothing, waiting for his woman to take care of him.
Right.
I, I was born in 1970. I'm just saying. As for the kid, that's not how we doing it, man.
Right.
And listen. I'm gonna say it to you like this.
Yeah.
I come from a divorced home where we was just a single parent whole household. My
Yeah.
mom raised me, my brother, and my sister.
Yeah.
And she instilled in me a good work ethic in
Yeah.
that I need to be able to support myself
Yeah.
so that I can support an entire family.
Yeah.
But a man is willing. Okay, let me deal with the other side because I didn't got on that. Let me deal with the other side of this because I think you brought it up. The fact that the women are lowering the standard
Yeah.
in order to, I guess,
Attain
acquire,
something.
to get what they think will make them happy.
Yeah.
But again, here's the thing, and I said at the very beginning of this conversation, is that you're getting something that may appear to make you happy, but in the end will frustrate you. Why is it frustrating you? Because it's not even meeting the bare requirement. It's not meeting the bare requirement. You're just sitting here tolerating something for right now, and you're trying to make it last. And it's not going to last. It's not going to last. It's not, because it's not even meeting the bare requirement, Charles. If you can't even support yourself, and that should be the standard, right?
Yeah.
If you can't even support yourself, then what are you really doing? Here's the last thing I want to kind of throw out there, and I want to flip the script on the whole standard thing on terms of standards that we have for other people. My question is: are we ourselves? Do we have standards for us personally? Do you? And I think this speaks directly
That's a good point.
to the men who would rather stay home doing nothing and let their women provide for them. That's because what kind of standard do you have for yourself as a man? And in a general sense, what kind of standard do you have for yourself as a person? Because if you're willing to accept and tolerate certain things that are beneath your standards, what does that say about you?
That's the key point. I think what most people fail to realize is the actions are the standard.
Okay.
Or the lack thereof, that is my standard. You don't have to ask me. Look, the fact that I'm comfortable with you going to work, that's what I'm used to.
That's a problem.
That's my standard.
Wow. Yeah, man. That's that you gotta I think we got our priorities in the wrong place. And again, this is the reason why we said at the beginning of the conversation that there has to be a something that you are defining what your standard is. So here's the thing, Charles. And I really do believe that if you define the standards for yourself in terms of what you're expecting and what you are willing to accept from yourself, those become reflective in terms of what you expect in someone else. What am I saying? I cannot expect something from you that I am not expecting from me.
Wow.
If I am the standard and I have set certain things for me to meet in terms of requirements and prerequisites, then those also become reflective of the person that I am with.
Wow.
And this is how I am able to maintain the standard, because I'm not expecting anything from you that I'm not myself also doing.
Wow. Because that's the key. Don't
Yeah.
don't present something that you're not upholding.
That's exactly.
Don't just present
Yes.
a list to intimidate me.
Right.
That list should be who your brand
Who
is
you're
and
doing.
what
Right.
you're
What are
doing.
you bringing? What are you also bringing
Sure.
to the table in terms of this relationship? What are you offering? What is the thing that makes you appealing? What are you doing? Because if you're not willing to operate on a standard that is acceptable to yourself, then there's no way that you're going to get me to do something that you're not doing yourself.
Wow.
Talk to me, somebody.
This is a business idea. Listen, we can come out with standard cards. People just discuss on their first date.
Standard card. What's
standard
up?
cards. Yeah, the
Standard
standard cards. Be like, hey,
cards.
you have all sorts of standards and what they mean. And you talk about them and discuss to be like, what do you think about this? This is something that resonates with me. How does that feel with you? And then
exactly
and see how they go and go from there.
Right.
But we don't want to drag out the hour. We appreciate you guys. You know how we do. We get a little carried away. You guys participating on this wonderful Friday Eve of Love's Weekend. But anyway,
God, that's right. That's tomorrow, isn't it? Lord, have mercy.
Appreciate you guys for tuning in.
Bless all the single folk. Bless all the single folk. Jesus, hallelujah.
Don't be saying to people, no, anyway. No, but anyway, look, bless the fighting married folks. Don't get like you whatever. You can go do you, bro. Anyway, no, I don't. You forgot my Valentine's Day anyway. So yeah. But anyway, yeah. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. To Unique Perspective Love Talk Radio, where today we talked about love standards. Yeah. We appreciate you guys, your input, and we'll keep the topics coming. Same time, same channel, next Friday, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, 7 p.m. Eastern, and so on and so forth. Got any last words, sir?
Happy Valentine's Day,
everybody. Yeah, happy Valentine's Day.
You're
going to throw rocks at the screen.
Get out of here.
But anyway, so yeah. All right. Maria. That's it.
Nah. Yeah. Get out the comments. Get out the comments. Get out the comments. Stop playing.
All right, y'all. Next week. Y'all singing that. Somebody trying to sing, but anyway. All right,
Joe.
You ain't got nothing to say?
All I'm trying to say is don't be trying to intimidate nobody, and you know who you are. Don't be trying to threaten nobody. Yeah, she's trying to threaten somebody, man.
What'd she say? Oh, wait a minute.
She's trying to threaten people, bro.
All right.
So if y'all if I don't show up next week on the
We
jump,
know.
y'all know what happened.
Well, you
Y'all
come
know
with
what
black
happened.
eye. We know what it is.
Yeah.
All right.
Why I got
Why you
this
gotta
is
have
what I'm
black eye,
talking about.
right? You
Right,
better
this is
have a
what I'm
black
talking
eye. She
about.
can't have one. Let you have one. But anyway.
True that. Right. You're
Right.
right. You're right. Because
All right.
yeah.
All right, y'all. Have a great weekend. Be safe.
Have a great weekend. Have a Valentine's Day.
All right.
Maybe.